Where in the world are the birds today? Well, they're in Hawaii. Hawaii, known affectionately as the Aloha State, became our 50th state in 1959. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, it's about 2,000 miles from the west coast of the United States, and it has a population of about 1.5 million. The weather is tropical in Hawaii with pretty much always a chance of sun, rain, or sun and rain. And according to this weather station sign that we found, you can pretty much always figure out how the weather is going to be on any given day. On this trip, our visit was via cruising, so we were a bit limited in what birds we might see. But it's amazing how many birds one can find if you are determined enough. No matter what our situation was, we made the best of our time and we were grateful for what we did find. Actually, I was very happy to see the wonderful birds that we did. First up, you don't need to go very far to find common myna birds. They were intentionally introduced to Hawaii in 1866 by physician and botanist Dr. Hillebrand. They were taken from India as an agricultural control agent to combat moths and armyworms, which were badly damaging sugarcane plantations. They were very effective, but they also became controversial later and are now mostly considered an invasive pest. They are bold, flashy, adaptable, and can be very aggressive. I'll have more on that in a later video from the South Pacific. They are comfortable around people and are known to be strong flyers. They are also very smart. Other birds that are quite common and easy to find are spotted doves, zebra doves, and crested cardinals. Spotted doves were introduced from Asia prior to 1855. They were deliberately brought to Hawaii, likely as captive birds raised for food by Chinese immigrants. Escaped birds became established and then, by 1900, quickly spread and flourished due to the warm climate and lack of predators. They are highly adaptable and they commonly hang out with zebra doves and pigeons. Zebra doves were also introduced from Asia. In 1922, they were intentionally introduced when a small group of the birds were brought from Singapore and released across several of the main islands. The desire was to populate the environment with exotic bird life. They are not only common, but easily identified by their feather patterns. Like the spotted doves, they are comfortable with humans and can be found in many environments. Crested cardinals were introduced from South America between 1928 and 1931. They were brought as caged songbirds and released to introduce new bird life to the region. They're actually part of the tanager family. They are generally found on the ground. They are curious and striking and often found in pairs or small flocks. The beautiful Pacific golden plovers can be found in a variety of places. What gorgeous birds they are! They were not introduced but are highly migratory, and they are an indigenous species. They spend the winters in Hawaii and the summers in the Arctic tundra region. They are revered in Hawaii for their stamina and sight fidelity. They make a non-stop 3,000-mile flight from Alaska to Hawaii in just 3 or 4 days. During this arduous journey, they lose about half of their weight. They arrive in August to September timeframe and leave in April and May. Next up, at first glance, you might see this yellow-billed cardinal and quickly dismiss it as a crested cardinal, but it clearly is not. The yellow-billed cardinal is a striking songbird that was introduced in the 1960s and 70s from South America. Like many Hawaiian birds, they were escaped or intentionally released cage birds. Like the crested cardinal, they are also a tanager and can commonly be seen in urban areas. They are ground foragers, often seen in pairs and small family groups. We caught decent glimpses of red-vented bulbuls, but we struggled to get very many good photos. Sometimes you have to work with how willing the birds are to cooperate. These are such pretty birds. They were established in the 1950s, likely through illegal importation as caged birds. They escaped or were released into the wild and are now considered invasive. They are aggressive and are agricultural pests that damage crops and spread invasive seeds. They pose a serious threat to native ecosystems, so to protect native birds and agriculture, they are heavily controlled. Then there are the delightful saffron finches. They were introduced from South America in the 1960s, first as caged birds, and then they escaped or were intentionally released into the wild and are now established and common. They are often seen foraging in grassy areas like parks and lawns. They are not a true finch, but are another bird that is part of the tanager family. And here is a Japanese white-eye. We had no opportunities for better shots, but I wanted to share this photo as it's really a striking bird. They were intentionally introduced to Hawaii from Asia and are now the most abundant land bird across the islands. Agriculturists and settlers brought the birds with the intention of serving as pest control for gardens and agricultural lands. They are considered invasive at this time and can be found everywhere from sea level to altitudes of 10,000 feet. This one was a great find. Common waxbills. I think they're a beautiful bird. They were introduced to Hawaii in the 1970s as ornamental cage birds that escaped captivity. Native to sub-Saharan Africa, they adapted quickly to the warm, grassy lowland areas on the islands. They are often spotted in noisy social flocks, foraging for grass seeds in parks and urban lawns. Another great find, and the only life bird for me on this visit to Hawaii, was the Hawaiian goose, which is the state bird and the rarest goose in the world. Here they are called nenes. They were not introduced by humans. These ancestors of Canada geese were a wayward flock blown off course roughly 500,000 years ago. Over the years, they adapted to the volcanic landscape of Hawaii. They no longer needed large bodies of water to escape because there are no large predators to threaten them here. Their toes became longer and the feet became less webbed, and they evolved into a completely distinct species. Until the 1960s, they were hunted to near extinction, but conservationists saved the species. The two in the photos are banded, enabling organizations to track and understand flock dynamics and seasonal altitude migration. Most of them have both a USGS federal band and a unique color band on their legs. The lovely white terns are actually considered a seabird, but I'm including them in this video because they can be found and are easily viewed in the trees lining the streets in Honolulu. They were not intentionally introduced by humans. They are an indigenous species that naturally colonized the islands and are now a beloved fixture in Honolulu. Credit for these photos goes to my dear friend Susan Godfrey. She had better luck than we did with photos and was very generous to share her good fortune. Down by the shore, we found a beautiful and very focused black-crowned night heron. He scanned the shore again and again in pursuit of lunch. Even the pouring rain did not deter him. They were not introduced to Hawaii by humans and are considered indigenous. It is believed that they arrived naturally, migrating or being blown off course across the Pacific from North or South America before human settlement. They are the most widely distributed herons on the planet. They are found in marshes, shallow wetlands, and coastal shores. These herons mostly eat fish but are highly opportunistic with mice and occasional shorebird eggs. They are intelligent and patient hunters, often tossing bread scraps, twigs, or other found items into the water to lure fish. Clever. We found a wandering tattler at the shore. He gave us great looks as he combed through weeds and rocks for a snack. They are a common migratory shorebird found on tidal flats, streams, and shorelines, and are usually found as a pair or solitary. They were not introduced by humans. They arrived naturally by spectacular transoceanic migration from Alaska, Yukon, and eastern Russia, which is where they breed in remote mountainous areas. Each fall, they undertake an epic non-stop flight over thousands of miles of open ocean along the Central Pacific Flyway to winter in Hawaii. Wow, that is impressive. Next up, lastly, we have the red jungle fowl. They are a spectacular bird with reddish, golden, and iridescent green and blue plumes. They are widespread throughout Asia and have been introduced widely and often occur around humans on the islands in the Pacific Ocean including the Hawaiian Islands. Over the years, in many areas, they have bred with others and are often not the pure red jungle fowl. We have seen the pure ones in Hawaii and some in other South Pacific oceans. I'm including them because many people may not know that they are an American Birding Association countable bird. We hope you enjoyed this video about some of the birds in Hawaii. Join us next time for more birds. We have a lot of outings planned, so we could be anywhere in the world in the future. Here are a few hints as to where you might find us soon.